Going on, everybody? Welcome to the live stream. Really excited to share some stuff with you guys tonight. We've got some stuff laid out that I have not talked about, some stuff that I have talked a little bit about, some stuff that you guys have seen a million times, and then some really exciting stuff, some stuff that, honestly, I mean, like I knew some of this, like the thing in the thumbnail, right? The Tempest, obviously I knew that existed. I just thought, well, if I ever get my hands on one of those, you know, it'll be really, really cool. I'm sure it's an amazing knife. I definitely did not expect to get my hands on a super, ultra, mega, ridiculous custom version of it. Absolutely insane. We'll talk more about that once we've got some more people in here. How are you guys doing tonight? What's up? Edward Long, Kyle Roberts, what's up, man? Cyclops 214, what's up? Introverted 2A, Scott, there's the man himself, Mr. Scott, who sent this in, along with the KD Arson, which was a surprise joy. Scott, truthfully, the KD Arson is really cool, and I'm going to talk about it here in a sec. But as you can understand, it just got vastly overshadowed in that unboxing by the freaking Tempest that you sent me. I mean, like, that thing was such a powerhouse, you know, and it has such a unique presence to it. We're going to talk. I'm going to give the KD Arson justice. And give it its time, give it its spotlight, right? We're going to talk about that tonight and, of course, in the review. But, yeah, you know, I mean, it's like it was hard. Anything up against the Tempest is just ridiculous, you know? Let's see here. Tempest versus Arch Nemesis. I knew that was coming. Man, the problem here is that I'm handling another full custom from Sharp by Design, which, as of right now, Sharp by Design makes the most excellent custom that I have ever handled. And it's there's a considerable distance between Sharp by Design and anything that I could think would make second place. Sharp by Design is unreal. So the Arch Nemesis has its own, you know, it's got its own aura because it's a really aggressive dagger, right? But the Tempest is like a practical design. It is an ultra practical design. You could almost say it's got incredibly simplistic lines, but it's just done. It's just like perfection done to perfection. It's like ultimate knife, you know, it's crazy. How do I like the J-Cape? I love it. And also, I didn't mention this in the unboxing. The guy who sent that, unless I'm horribly mistaken, I'm pretty sure I remember the conversation, donated that knife to the channel. So I now own the J-Cape. Of course, if I'm wrong, to the person who sent that to me, please tell me. I will never keep anything that's not actually supposed to be mine, but I'm 99% sure he mentioned that he wanted to donate it, which is really cool because it's a nice knife. I'm not 100% sure. I mean, here's the thing, guys. People donating stuff, it's really nice. It doesn't affect how I feel about it. So I'll always be honest with you. I'm not super into the lightning bolt clip, but literally the rest of the knife is right up my alley, right? But the clip is kind of like the Chavez clip, right? I mean, it's kind of a distinguishing factor for the J-Cape. Is Zell in here? What's up, Zell? Desert Smeagol's in here. What's up, man? Let's see here. Blade Edge. He says I made it. You did make it. What happened to the channel membership? Sad to see my 1 year plus badge gone. So it's been paused because I'm still currently demonetized. But I'm going to get a manual review of my channel come June 1st, and then we all have to wait. If they reinstate monetization, you guys will all get your membership badges back. But they might not, right? In which case you just won't have it. And it sucks, but there's nothing I can do about it. I mean, it really sucks because people, you know, were members for so long. But you know what? I mean, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. As I said in the video, demonetization, that's always like a horrible negative. And for channels that depend entirely on monetization, it is a horrible thing. But this channel has never relied solely on monetized income. This channel does generate revenue from many sources that YouTube has no control over. So it, you know, I get to keep going, and I consider myself fortunate, you know, to be able to do that. But I definitely would like my monetization back. Like it still stings. I definitely like my members to still have access to their badges and emojis, definitely. right? I mean, that's the biggest part of that. Like, I'm glad I get to make content, but it still sucks that people don't have their membership stuff, you know? So, yeah, sorry, guys. You like the Civivi? There's a couple of Civivis out here that are really cool. Same ones from the last live stream, of course, the Button Lock Elementum and the Sleeper, man. The Imperium. Oh, God, the Imperium is really good. Nitro V, front flipper, long and slender, full-size knife, really good. This thing came out of nowhere. It's such a, the reason I call it a sleeper is because it's such an unassuming look, right? You see it and it's like, oh, Civivi, right? Nitro V and a front flipper, and it works really well. Thumb stud opener, you know, if you want to freaking reverse flick it, no problem. It's a really cool knife. I can see that one being really popular, and I can also see it slipping under the radar. Joey Fant, what's up? Addicted to Blades. What's up, man? Let's see here. Dang, I like the lens on that. Yeah, me too. I really like the Imperium. I think it's super cool. There's a Sen cut out here tonight. The first Sen cut I've ever handled. And I'll be honest with you guys, it's a good knife. It has the same blade as the Backlash. It also has nearly the same price as the Backlash, which is really, really confusing. This feels pretty much like a Civivi, and it's D2 and G10, and it functions pretty much the same. And it's the same. It's $45, 40 to $45. I mean, honestly, if Sencut was doing this type of stuff at the $30 price point, it'd be really impressive. As it sits right now, it's just another generically recommendable knife in the $40 to $45 range. And it's funny to say that because it is an excellent design. It's just like we have a billion of those, and half of them are from Civivi. So what's the point? What's the point of Sencut? It's good. I'm going to talk about it in the review. Yeah. Badges are gone until I can get the, they can give me a final word on monetization. Well, if they give that back, you guys will not only get the badges back, but you'll get the right color back too. The only way that it goes away permanently is if I'm demonetized for 90 days or more. I looked into that. So, but as far as the bummer of it goes, I am over it. I had so much fun making content this last week. Al the Science Pal, what's up? Who needs acorns anyway when we have these bad boys? Exactly. You all still have your pickles, right? Be thankful for your pickles. Doesn't matter who you are. We should all be thankful for pickles. Anybody else pre-order? Yeah, I heard the pre-order went up for Knife Center. So I'll let you guys know, just to be fair, for anybody who doesn't know, I have no affiliate program with Knife Center, but yeah, that is the case. You can pre-order the 80-20.5 on Knife Center. The Snafu 3.0 or Evo 3.0. Snafu 3.0, as far as I understand, is a little bit shorter. I still haven't seen it yet. The Evo, you're talking, so they did a Rotten Evo. What's the size of the new Rotten? I'm more interested in that. I love the Snafu, but if I was going to buy one, it'd be the full size. What's the size on the Evo 3.0? If it's the Rotten Evo, that's what I want to know about. I'm at Dairy Queen right now. I knew that. Dude, Zell, I didn't even read whose name that was. And as soon as I read, I'm at Dairy Queen right now, I'm like, that's Zell. I need MC to decide what I get. Zell, here's what you got to do. Number one, all the other sizes besides extra large are trivial. Why would you order whatever if you're going to order ice cream, you order it the maximum quantity, okay? So maximum quantity. I know that's not a problem for you. What I like to do, which is probably going to sound gross, is to order Heath with extra Heath, or Reese's Peanut Butter Cups with extra Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, because they never put enough in there. It's like whatever you're going to pay for the maximum quantity of ice cream, do it. And then if they want $2 extra for extra stuff in there, do it. You're going to end up paying like $6.50 for a super large Blizzard, but whatever, at least you're going to get your money's worth. That's the only way to get your money's worth, in my opinion. You got to pay too much for it. It's the only way to get your money's worth is to pay too much money for it. Kyle Roberts didn't trust Knife Center pre-order, or don't trust Knife Center pre-order. Without commenting and bringing down Knife Center, I will say that I can understand people's hesitation on that. But it also sounds like I'm trying to bait people into clicking on my links. So I would say just go with your gut, guys. Like, don't feel like you have to benefit this channel. People are gonna be more concerned with just getting the 80/20.5 than supporting my channel, and I totally get that. Any way that you guys can feel confident that you're gonna get your hands on one, I'm gonna assume they're gonna go fast. So just do what you got to do, right? Midsummer, whatever. I think is the drop. Oh, hey, by the way, I've decided that I'm not 100% sure I want to buy a rock lobster, and I can't remember I don't even know if it's still available. But that rock lobster that was in M4, I'd kind of like to look at that. And I've also never checked out the rock lobster. So if you guys picked one up and you wouldn't mind sending it in for review, email me at metalcomplex87@gmail.com or DM me on Instagram. I think I'd really like to look at one. So if you're okay with me borrowing it for up to 6 weeks, just let me know and I'll give you the details. Let's see here. Oh, it's gone? Okay. It didn't fly off the shelves, but I figured it would be sold out. So there you go. I hesitated. I really wanted to buy one. I was like, that's weird, but it's kind of cool, right? That's Spyderco. You know, everybody who's ever bought a Spyderco, this is what goes through your head before you buy it. You go, that's weird. It's kind of cool. Every time. We all say that to ourselves 100% of the time, whether you're a Spyderco fan or not. We got 145 people in here. Would you guys like to take a look at the Tempest real quick? I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna guess that it's gonna be a yes. So it's got to listen. Oh, you know what? So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get it out, and Scott is the only person who's not allowed to answer because he bought this, right? So just so you guys know, Sharp by Design Customs, I believe most of the time you actually have to win a lottery just to be able to buy one, right? Not most of the time, maybe sometimes, right? Maybe sometimes they just go up and whatever's available, you can buy it in some cases. This was a very special one, and I know that this was a lottery knife. So Scott won the lottery to be able to buy this. I'm keeping my hand out here to keep, right? Yeah. So this is ridiculous. It is to date the most expensive knife that I have ever handled, and easily, the only competition that this has is the other Sharp by Design knife that I've handled, the other custom, which was the Arch Nemesis. There's nothing else that has ever come close to the level of craftsmanship here. The attention to detail. I mean, what's been created here is absurd. And you guys aren't getting the full detail in the close-up, but the machine work on this thing is second to nothing else that I've ever handled. The etching is insane too. It's like a double polish on the etching is so light, but you can still see it. And it's a mirror polish on the etching. Like, it's just crazy. So yeah, take a crack at this thing. What do you guys think this costs? I know the answer. I'd like to see what you guys think. 3,500. Hang on. Let me just set that guy right there. Let me read here. Dang, Kyle got it. Yeah, that's a $4,000 knife. $4,000. Absolutely terrifying to handle. Terrifying to handle that thing. That's Timascus and I believe Damasteel. Right now, there are, like a lot of people are like, well, Damacore is more expensive than the finish on that thing alone just had to have taken a ridiculous amount of time. No, it went for $4,000. It was an auction in. Oh, did I get that wrong? It was an auction? Yeah. So he won. It wasn't a lottery. He won an auction. So it's one of those things where it's. I mean, that was such a unique variant. It's kind of worth what somebody's willing to pay. Yeah. But I mean, like, if you're gonna drop that kind of money, if I was gonna drop that kind of money on a knife, I would be hovering over Sharp by Design everything. Oh my gosh. $4,000. Yeah. It probably started at 3,500, right? I mean, if it wasn't in such massive demand, I guess I could see it sitting on a site for 3,500. But again, like, this territory is incredibly confusing to me, and I can't even pretend to understand everything that goes into it. There has to be an enormous amount of work, but Scott's in here. He can confirm what he paid for it. I believe I said lottery, and I'm sure that applies sometimes to sharp. I'm not like super involved or understanding. You know, I mean, I don't have like ultimate understanding of every sale that goes through Sharp by Design, but a lot of times you do have to win a lottery to be able to purchase it. But I think this was an auction. So he won the auction, not the lottery. So maybe I was wrong about that. $4,000 is what he paid for it. I did get a KNP Mini Tempest. Absolutely. I did pick one of those up. Scott, you're not stupid, man. You have easily like the most legendary thing that's ever been on the channel. This is beautiful. It's ridiculous, like how incredible this is. It is absolutely beautiful. The lines on this knife are so good. And here's the thing. This is a hand melter. This is so perfect and organic and natural. The pocket clip positioning and style are perfect. The machine work or the chamfering is perfect. The way that it falls into your hand is perfect. Everything here is just so. The Tempest is such an awesome design. Oh my gosh. And yeah, it is ridiculously smooth. Hang on, sorry. Safety net here. Oh, we're at an angle, but yeah. God. That lips detent system is just second to nothing else. Yep, absurd amounts in auctions. I mean, that's Sharp by Design though. Here, I mean, that's the thing. I've handled other knives that are multi-$1,000s. I've never handled something that's that expensive, but it's just ridiculous. I've never handled anything that feels like a Sharp by Design custom. Nothing. They're just incredible. Scott, most of us wish we were in the position to have bought it. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, I mean, like, that's true. Nobody else that I know can say I own an insane, ridiculously beautiful custom version of the Tempest. That is a one-of-a-kind knife. One of a kind. Crazy. An ultimate version of an ultimate knife. I mean, that's pinnacle, right? There are definitely knives that cost more, right? If you want to talk about William Henry, there's definitely knives that cost more than that. But that's the most expensive knife I've ever handled, for sure. Yeah, and Brian Nadeau is pushing the limits. Like, I mean, like he's doing things that nobody else is doing. I have never seen machine work like that. That is just unreal. Wait till you guys get the full definition overview of that thing. Just wait. I mean, I know you saw it in the unboxing, but I'm going to go into incredible detail about all the little crazy features. Like, he went so far out of his way to make little teeny tiny things that you have to look for. And it's just crazy. That guy's a mad scientist. Like, there are things on that knife that I would never even think like to do, right? So few. The only types of people who are going to notice that stuff are the same types of people who are going to pay for it. I mean, it's a perfect synergy, right? That's the Super Saiyan Tempest final form. Absolutely. Oh. Honestly, I mean, listen, if I had $4,000 to blow, Cushman 613, if you want to flex, just keep the $4,000 in your pocket in a money clip and whip it out, because you don't want to scratch the knife. I mean, I get the logic there, but truthfully, if I had expendable income and I was going to drop $4,000 on a knife, I'd rather have that than $4,000. I would, right? You can buy a beater car for $4,000, right? There's a lot of stuff you can buy for $4,000. As a knife nut, if I'm imagining myself with that type of expendable income or disposable income, yeah, I'd rather have that than just $4,000, because $4,000 is just sitting there waiting to be spent on something else. I'd rather have that, right? But I don't have $4,000, right? I had to save for months to be able to buy the $1,100 Quantum, you know. Oh man. His lock bar and detent system setup goes insane to it. Yeah, it is. It is. And if you guys, if your first Sharp by Design knife that you're ever going to handle, if you were one of the people who got in on the pre-order on the mini the mini Tempest, you're gonna get it and you're gonna go, oh my gosh, this is different. This is very different, right? I have my Evo Typhoon that I'll never get rid of. It is totally unique. Like the way that they feel is totally unique. It's different. You're never gonna feel that type of crisp break on from where it starts in the closed position and then flipping it to the open position. There's nothing that feels like a Sharp by Design. The Riot built ones, the custom ones, they're just different. It feels different, and it's a good different, right? I did get it out one night. People saying I want to fondle that thing. I did. I'll admit, Scott, there was a night where I was sitting on the couch and I got that thing out, and I just really wanted to hold it and flip it. And I was only comfortable doing it for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then I put it back away. But oh my gosh, it's just amazing. Let's see here. You can buy a great few. Dude, even being Rion made, the way he sent his CAD files to them. Yeah, that's the thing. Joey Fantz got it there. It's insane. He's a legend. So that's a perfect example of what, like, people give a static value to Riot knives. Like when you talk about the OEM, they give a static value to Wii knives. Like, oh, they want this much, but remember, it's just a Wii. Or they want this much, but it's a Riot. It's not made, but there is somewhat of a baseline where you can apply that. But here's where that all gets messed up. When somebody, a genius like Brian Nadeau, who can send those files and all the little he's like, this is how you do this. This is how you do this. It's made by Riot, but they're essentially all of the like protocols is the wrong word. All of the little things that translate into the final form of the knife, it's all Brian Nadeau. And that's why those Sharp by Design Riots end up feeling like something that's from another universe. You take one of the Sharp by Design Riots, right? And you compare them with other Riot builds, and you're like, well, these other Riot builds are really nice, but they're not these. They're not the ones from Sharp by Design. They don't feel like those. They feel totally different. And that's because it was Brian that went into those things. You can feel it. It's different. It's crazy, right? It's amazing that the Riot Sharp by Designs aren't more money. I've said this many times. I'm happy to fork over extra money for Riot, being somebody who loves USA knives. Most of the stuff that I buy is US. I'm happy to fork over extra money for Riot, but I'm especially happy to fork over money for Riot Sharp by Designs. I will probably never be able to afford a real Sharp by Design custom, but I'm more than happy to spend what they want for the SBD Riots. $350 to $450. Take my money. Take it. They're that good. I have not named my new XM24 yet. I haven't found something that sounds exactly right. I've had a lot of decent suggestions. I just haven't quite figured it out yet. Hey, MC chat, what's your favorite flippers with a very push button action as opposed to light switch? That's a hard thing to answer right off the top of my head. Because I'm trying to access data. I mean, remember, I'm hydrating right now. And then I'm trying to access the data in my mind up against every upload I've done and every knife I've handled. Which at this point, the total amount of different knives that I've handled, I think is over. And there are people out there who have handled a lot more than me, but I've handled over 600 or 700 different knives total, in this territory. So it's really hard to access. Yeah, the Malibu's great. That's a good one for sure. I think another good push button flipper is the Les George VECP flipper. That one's really good for push button. The Hinderers are not good push button flippers, and they're also not good light switch flippers. They're just flippers. I gotta admit, the freaking the J cape is really good because of the angle of the flipper tab, and it makes an awesome sound too. Not only is it comfortable and deliberate, but you hear that ting. Oh, ting. Like it. Where is the knife with square blade? What? The knife with square blade? I don't know. I don't know what I'm not sure what that is. Are you talking about like the Gerber flat iron, or are you talking about the John Graham or the Graham knives, whatever the heck that thing is, the one that Nick Shabazz really liked however long ago? Oh, second to the second. Well, this one up here is the tie light. So this is a cold steel tie light in aluminum and S35VN for $87. Now I'll tell you guys right now, you guys probably know I'm gonna say this, but there's a lot of like practical things with this knife that don't make a lot of sense, right? I mean, like, yeah, I understand the design philosophy behind this, but like I judge everything from the perspective of somebody who's gonna just take it out and use it like a regular tool. And there's a lot of problems with this, but it is kind of amazing. I mean, this is a good cold steel knife in terms of quality. Yeah, like the build is great for $87. This is the aluminum and S35VN variant. It's pretty cool. Do I have any Chinese knockoffs? No. I am very, and no offense to anyone, live your own life how you want to live it. I am super anti-clone and anti-counterfeit. I do not like that stuff. I hate it. That's why I don't show it. That's why I don't talk about them. I don't tell people where you can get them. Absolutely not. My message to people is either save the money and buy the real thing or don't buy it at all. Don't support bottom feeders. Don't support the people who steal from original designers. There's a lot of hair splitting going on in the knife community right now, but there are obviously like deliberate fakes out there, deliberate theft issues with designs. Don't support that stuff. Let's buy a clone. You can get a clone for $40 and it's the same thing. No, it isn't. And those people are stealing. It's not the same no matter what people tell you, right? It's never the same quality, never. And it's a stolen design. It's one of the only things that I'll get super heated about. When I see that in my comment section, I'm like, don't talk about that. It's not allowed here. Don't do it. It's a problem. It's a huge problem. Hate it. Clones are pure theft. 100%. I agree. There you go, Mika V. Right, a lot of people learn the lesson this way because I can understand the temptation with it. Got a PM2 knockoff like 5 to 6 years ago because I figured it would give me an indication of how they feel. It did not. My Tenacious feels better than that junk. Yeah, that's what most people find out. The only time you hear the alternate when people say no, it's definitely the same thing. It's because they're just lying. They don't know because they've never handled the real thing. They just don't know. Right, so they're just it's self-reaffirmation in the purchase, right? It's never the same. The clones will never be as good. But yeah, Mika V, I'm not coming down on you. I actually think that's a fantastic. I'm glad that you said that, right? A lot of people are if you've been tempted and you've bought a clone in the past and then you've come to the realization, wow, it really wasn't the real thing, and I'd rather support. Now that I've handled the real thing, I'd rather support the original maker. I think that's the best. I mean, a lot of people go down that path, and that's great. If you arrived at that point, I think that's excellent. I'm getting all serious. I'm getting serious tonight. I'm going to tell you, give you some hyper opinionated nonsense tonight. How's the action on the new sleeve? It's exactly the same as the original, right? The other knife in the thumbnail. Very satisfying. It's the only Spyderco where I don't really care that I can't reverse flick it because that initial break. The action in this is just so good. God, this is such a good knife. I did make an error when I did the overview. I talked about the original price being somewhere between $330 and $350. Actually, the original price was $300. So this is officially $100 up from the original price. It is overpriced, guys. I mean, I think a more realistic price point for this would have been $350. A lot of people have been pointing out, no, well, the sway back that Spyderco did and The Spidey Chef are only 220 to 250, and we're not looking at, anything, spectacularly different between that and this. And I agree with that, but I'd also say that this is a substantially better design. Now, it's not like a better design always, it's like there's an additional justified cost. There are a couple of elements here that would make me want to pay more money for this. It also probably cost, Pete from Cedric and Ada pointed this out. It probably cost a lot of money to revive this, to bring the machines that put this together back into operation, right? It probably cost a lot of money to do that. And for all we know, just like Pete said on his video, Knifejoy may have only been making, they may have only been trying to make, am I saying that correctly? They may only be making $50 per knife on this because it's so expensive to revive those systems through Spyderco, right? So we might not be looking at that much money in materials, but just to bring this back to the market to let people buy this versus paying $800 in the secondary, it might have just been really hard to do. I don't think anybody's trying to rip anybody's face off there. And I definitely do think the drama surrounding it was, for the most part, unwarranted. But, it's just one of those things. It's like, if it's for you and you just love it and you can't live without it, then buy it. You're probably going to be paying a little bit too much money for it, but it might bring you that happiness. And if it doesn't, holy crap, they're holding their value, obviously. So just sell it to somebody for what you bought it for and then wash your hands of it, right? And if you weren't interested in it in the first place, I can pretty much guarantee that moving on with your life will result in you being completely unaffected by its existence. I'm just like monologuing and not looking at the chat. It's really easy to make an argument when you just don't look at the counter arguments. Sorry. How's the action in the Demco 80-20.5? It's excellent. It's great. I took this one completely apart. It's great. Here. Nearly falls shut. Especially if you really pull down on it, you can see there. Yeah, it just falls. Almost cut my finger there. Fantastic. Love it. Does it feel like the 80-20? It feels like a smaller, thinner, lighter version. The 80-20 is a bigger, thicker version, and the G10 or titanium feels substantially more solid. Like, this one feels like a substantially more premium version. But it is the same system. The disengagement of the lock and the clicks and the clacks are all the same. The quality of action isolated feels the same. It's everything else surrounding the knife that makes the bigger one and the more expensive one feel different. Comparison to the 80-20. You want to see them together here? There you go. This way and this way. You can see here, the real guy's he's a big old beefy boy. He's a big boy, right? G10 one is actually a little thicker than this guy. So they actually come in 3 different thicknesses. Taiwan version, titanium American version, and then the I could probably get it out for you guys. Hang on. I'll show you. The G10 version, for whatever reason, is even thicker than the titanium one. Just a little bit. Here, let me close them. I'll show you. There you go. Thickness of tie versus this guy. Definitely thicker. Thickness of the G10 one. Way, way thicker. Definitely. Right? Just smash these two in here together. I always have the 80-20s out here. There we go. All right. Sorry. Let's take a look at chat. 203 people in here tonight. Guys, man, I didn't have anything special planned, so I'm honored that there are so many people who wanted to come in and join tonight. Thank you. Brent, is this really live? Yes, it is. Unless I was really lucky with the pre-recording and that exact dialogue. Oh, Mike, hey, what's up? Mike said, we were just out, me and Mike and my wife were just at the Paisley Pear having, well, we were hydrating. Is that a tie light? Yes, it is. What knife is the one with the milled holes? The tie light. Can't take my eyes off that blue one. Right bottom. Zachus, do you know what this is? Were you in here when I showed it? This is a one-of-a-kind, full custom, sharp by design Tempest coming in at $4,000, or at least that's what it was bought for. There is only one of these exactly. And this is the most expensive knife that I've ever handled. It is also the most incredible knife that I've ever handled, tied only with another sharp by design, the Arch Nemesis. I will buy more Shiros. I am now definitely, after, finally owning a Shiro, the Quantum here, I'm definitely now somebody who's going to go after Shiros in the future. Hey, let's talk about the KD Arson, because that is a super underdog right now. Now, understand, guys, so this guy right here, this is not Timascus. This is Richie B custom anno job. But this KD Arson is, it's CNC, but it's also still a partial custom knife. So these are, while it might look plain or something that, mimics a super high-end production knife, it definitely does feel like we're in like a much higher territory than a $400 knife. These have come in, these start at about $600, and they're beautiful. If you're really into simplistic lines, these are just beautiful. The KD Arson, I didn't give it its light when I did the unboxing of this guy and this guy, because this guy was, it was crazy. But this KD Arson is really nice. There's a lot of reasons to like this thing. I'm a big fan of this. Where can you get it? Periodically, you can get them at Polish Custom Knives, which I believe, I don't think this is exclusive to them, but I think it's one of the only retailers that you can get the KD Arson. They start at $600. From what I'm feeling, I think that's pretty fair. Very, very cool, and I wish that I had given that a little bit more attention. Beautiful. Mudkit, all your, he says, Metal Complex, all your praise of the Maximum Para 3 has me wanting one. But do you think it's corrosion resistant enough for EDC use in humid places like Florida? I don't know about Florida. That's hard. I'll show you mine after a year and a half. I clean this thing up once every 1 to 2 months, and it's doing just fine. I've had it for a year and a half. I've also never sharpened it. Maxima is insane. Now, I don't put my knives through a crazy amount of use, but seriously though, a year and a half of generic use, almost 2. We're coming up. September will be 2 years. It's crazy. Maxima's probably not going to survive this well in Florida, right? In fact, it wouldn't survive this well if I was just here in Kansas and I was using it in a much more, if I was constantly getting it wet. It's definitely got a little tiny bit of patina on it, right? But it's not crazy. This is my most EDC knife of all time. And it's still going. The price on those things now, though, what are they? They're like $220. Jeez. When my wife bought that, I think it was $190. Still high. Oh, the Spidey Chef arrived back to Paul Munko. Hey, Paul Munko, that's Colorful Filth on Instagram. And he sent me one of, I'm so glad that he sent and donated this to the channel. This is the Hinderer Viper Storm, which was the first one on the list of my most underrated knives here recently that I've handled. But I'll say this. The Hinderer Viper Storm might be one of the most underrated knives I've ever handled. This is really good, especially right now in a time where people really want Hinderer knives. Sorry for making the demand of those things go way up, guys. I can't pretend that wasn't partially my fault, but I think you guys know that. It wasn't just my fault. 2020 had a lot to do with it, and there are a lot of channels talking about Hinderer knives right now. But for people wanting to scratch that itch and you can't get a real Hinderer knife right now, god dang, for $200 to $220, go with a Viper Storm. This is sick. It's really nice, and they did such a good job capturing the Hinderer element here. M390, titanium, G10, and it really does feel like a Hinderer. Action is smooth. Excellent. Finishes are excellent. Handle profile. The entire profile of the knife was well thought out. I like it a lot. What's the knife above the Viper? The J-Cape. Here, hang on. Something obscene. Something Obscene Company J-Cape. This one right here. Whoops, sorry, I'm bumping the camera. M390, titanium, blue, purple. Sorry, we can't get that quality focus because we're in a live stream right now. Something Obscene Company J-Cape. Really nice. I'm not super into the lightning bolt pocket clip, but everything else here is really good. Like it. It's the only knife from Viper I've ever handled. I was always skeptical because I was like, what? What a weird collab, right? Joe Ziegler, yes, we did talk about that. You can pre-order it at Knife Center. Where can I get the Viper? You can, I mean, right now, you can go down into the description of the live stream, click on the link for new arrivals at Blade HQ, which will take you to the new arrivals page, but it'll just take you to Blade HQ in general. Right in the search bar, you can type in Hinderer Viper Storm, and it'll pull it up. If you want to do that and you decide to buy it, it supports the channel. Whenever you guys use a link down in the description before you buy something, I get a tiny commission, so it supports the channel. But if you don't want to do that, that's fine too. You can find it at Blade HQ and probably a number of other places. Oh, it is? The Biblio's made by Viper? I didn't know that. That's cool. Oh, wait. Yes, I did know that. Oh, okay. Well, I'm stupid. Sorry. Ever handle the Purvis Primordial? Yes, I did. I did handle that. I think I handled the Primordial and the Primordial 2, if I'm remembering correctly. I think there were reviews of both of those knives on this channel. Chase Gate, I showed up late. Did the Silver Stallion get a name? No, not yet. It doesn't have an official name yet. Every D2 knife I've owned has ended up covered in rust and discoloring, so I'm staying away from Maximin. Yeah, that's actually a good. If you have been using D2 knives and you found the patina to be pretty aggressive, Maximate will not work for you. It's fine out here in Kansas. There's a lot of other states where it probably will work, but wherever you are, if D2 is not working for you, Maximate's really not going to work for you. Coated Maximate might work a little bit better, but yeah, for sure, Rick Carr, for sure. Let's see here. What did I want to talk about? Something else that I really wanted to talk about, but I can't remember what the heck it is now. Oh yeah. So so tomorrow you guys are getting a battle video between the Spyderco Para 3 and the 80-20.5. Why? This is why. Now, we're not specifically talking about Maximate, the Maximate Para 3 and the standard version of this. We're talking about the Spyderco Para 3 G10 and S30V and the Spyderco Para 3 Lightweight in FRN or whatever it is and CTS BD1 versus the Demco 80-20.5. Extremely similar overall length, blade or cutting edge blade length, ergonomic handle positions, and price points. Obviously, you have to compare, right, the country of origin. You have to talk about the base materials and stuff like that. But you also have to consider the ambidextrous nature of the 80-20.5 and how it might cater better to some people. Something that I was constantly defending in that post, because people were like, FRN and OS10A is not as good as S30V, better materials, better value, better materials. That's, in some situations, I think that's more or less justified, because we have to remember, most people will immediately judge the value of the steel on edge retention potential alone, and that doesn't make sense. Obviously, we don't want steels like 420J on a $150 knife. But what's appropriate in that territory, it's sometimes hard to say, because you have to remember what some people will be using their knives for will change which elements of composition are beneficial to them. So even though S30V is more stainless and has better edge retention than OS10A, we can't forget about the other elements in composition, right? There's 4 cornerstones, and the other 2 being toughness and ease of sharpening or hardness, right? Hardness is an element there that has to do with edge retention and how tough it is and stuff like that. But ease of sharpening and toughness are a huge part of that. AUS 10A is tougher and easier to sharpen than S30V. Somebody who takes their knives out and thrashes them so hard in the middle of a workday, it doesn't matter if it's Maximate or if it's 3V or if it's AUS 10A or S30V. At the end of the day, the blade's going to be destroyed. So to them, a steel that's easier to sharpen is going to be more beneficial. So that value might be there for them. So what I did is I created, as you guys might guess, a freaking 33-minute video where I broke down every last teeny tiny element and created as many different arguments and answered, in my opinion, as many different arguments as I possibly could between the two knives. Because I truly believe they are super competitive. And, I mean, I'm not trying, it's, maybe this is partially ego talking about, I'm just saying, wait until the 80-20.5 comes out. I guarantee I won't be the only person making that comparison. It really seems like a hyper-competitive knife there. Most people will break it down to just materials used. You got to remember, again, the reason for the more reasonable price in the Spyderco is probably because Spyderco is able to produce the Para 3 in vastly higher quantities than the 80-20, despite the fact that this is made in the United States and the 80-20.5 is made in Taiwan. All right, sorry, I haven't been looking. I've been rambling for like 10 minutes straight. Sounds like the perfect video to fold laundry to. It will be. It will be. Thoughts on CPM MagnaCut? Oh, it sounds like freaking crazy stuff. Did you read the story on MagnaCut? Ooh, man, that was cool to read. CPM MagnaCut will definitely be a new popular flavor. And because it was put together by the man, the myth, the legend, Laren Thomas of Knife Steel Nerds, that just adds sauce to the soup, right? It sounds like he's created a potential god composition in MagnaCut. It also sounds like Chris Reeve Knives are looking into doing their stuff in MagnaCut. I think MagnaCut's going to be pretty insane. But obviously, I've got to wait. Even after I handle it, I'm never going to be able to test it to the point where I can say, yeah, definitively. I want to hear what other people think, what kind of results people are getting during actual use, right? And then sort of apply that to my review process. They have started test blades. Okay, there you go. Have any of the RSs you've handled had really light detent? Mine does, and I wonder if I should send it in to get it looked at. I mean, they have the appropriate strength of detent for the build, and like considering weight and massive blade positioning and shape of the flipper tab, it's always felt appropriate. And I've handled 3 or 4 of those things now, and they've been super consistent. But if you have one that feels really light, and if you're missing flips, whether you're light switching it or push buttoning it, then maybe send it in. Maybe there's something wrong with it. It's really hard to tell without handling it. Let's see. Still waiting on them adamantium blades. Yeah, adamantium and vibranium and unobtainium. That would be fantastic if we could get all of that stuff into blade steels. The future of blade steels is probably not steel. It's probably cobalt-based stuff and stuff that, like, what's the Gran Torino knife that's not really steel. It's like tungsten carbide. Stuff like that can't corrode. It's because it's not really steel. I think that's probably the future. In the next 5 years, I bet we'll see a massive uptick in stuff like that. Is Spyderco's Tenacious made in the USA? Sorry, I wasn't laughing at that question. I was laughing at something else. No, the Spyderco Tenacious is made in Spyderco's China factory. What happened to the titanium blade fad from years ago? I don't know. I mean, it's more of a novelty because titanium, while it can be heat treated and technically turned into a blade, and one of the biggest benefits is that it's not going to corrode, it's just not a good material for a blade. Titanium is pretty soft. So while there's a lot of stuff you can do with it, obviously, I mean, a titanium blade is, obviously, well, I would imagine it would be easy to sharpen, and pretty tough, it just doesn't hold an edge. It doesn't hold. I mean, like it's just not going to hold an edge. And it's just not a good material for a blade versus what's out there. I mean, even in the budget territory, it's not going to perform really, really well, as far as I understand. I mean, it's neat that you can anodize the blade and do a bunch of cool stuff, but I would venture to guess it's just based on the potential performance of a titanium blade. It just didn't end up being a great thing. Tough, but not hard, right? Just grabbed a stitch tonight from E-Knives. Well, there you go. If E-Knives has more and you've been looking for a stitch, better get on over there. Quick! Watch the population drop. As much as I accidentally cut myself, I would avoid a lightsaber flipper. Me too. But boy, would I be tempted. Titanium is extremely brittle on a fine edge. That's interesting. I didn't know that. I just don't know anything. I just remember reading an article about why titanium doesn't work for a blade. It's great as a support material, but definitely not a blade. Let's see here. Dragon's glass. Yeah. That Game of Thrones reference. I'm a minimalist. I just use Obsidian knives. So Obsidian, as far as I understand, Obsidian technically can be both the sharpest and have the highest potential edge retention of anything that we have ever, as human beings, that we have ever made blades out of. But of course, the problem is that it is so hard, it is unbelievably brittle. If you're interested in reading about stuff like that, I would look at, if you can find an article about obsidian blades, right? And what makes them so incredible in terms of edge retention, right? It's really interesting, but we don't see it because you could easily shatter it, right? The same reason that people ask why don't would diamonds make a good blade material? No. Diamonds are super, super hard and also incredibly brittle. I think a lot of people, in fact, I myself used to think like this, that diamonds were nearly indestructible. They're so hard that they can be brittle, so they wouldn't make a good blade material. Obviously, obsidian's nowhere near as hard as a diamond, but it's the same idea. As far as I understand, there are elements of that I'm obviously fogging over for lack of professional understanding, right? So I'm probably getting parts of that wrong. In fact, I'm inevitably getting parts of it wrong. I read that some ophthalmic scalpels actually have blades made of ruby. Ruby XM18 win. Ophthalmic. I've never heard that word before. That's really interesting. Now I'm going to hydrate and read about ophthalmic scalpels. That sounds cool. That's what my life has been reduced to, is reading about obscure materials that could be hypothetically used as a blade material for very, very specific and limited cutting tasks. I would just love, this isn't the question, but my goodness, would I love to see Rick Hinderer and John Demko, I'm sorry, Andrew and John Demko collaborate. I would love, can you imagine a Hinderer Demko collaboration? Can you guys, can you imagine the freaking epic sauce that they could make? The magic soup that they could create. Oh my God. I don't know to what benefit it would really be to them, other than just just stirring up the knife community and being like, are you looking for a Hinderer or a Demko? Finding it troublesome to find either of them? Well, now we bring you another even more unobtainable knife, the Hinderer Demko collaboration. Oh my gosh. Shark Log eggs in 24. I'd poop my pants. Ophthalmic surgeon equals eye surgeon. No, okay, that makes sense. Just bought a Microtech UTX-85. Congrats, Jeremy. What's your recommended knives for camping, canoeing? Could have used that for cooking on a daily. I mean, that's hard to say because I don't do that enough. But if you're gonna, I hate to say this because I don't like the Spidey Chef, but if you're talking about a knife that'd be great for camping and canoeing, like a folding knife, could I use that for cooking on a daily? I mean, like if you need a knife that is food prep and camping and canoeing, the Spidey Chef, because it's titanium and LC200N and does well as a food prep knife. So you don't have to worry about corrosion, right? It is a great design, despite me thinking it's super boring and I don't really like it. But that knife would work really well. I mean, honestly, I think a lot of people in here might agree. If you're talking about a folding knife. Hinder is doing a collaboration with Kabar or K-Bar. That's really cool. I didn't know about that. The drift, yeah, also, or waypoint. I'd rather have the drift. Camping, hunting, hiking, fishing, canoeing, outdoor stuff. I'd rather have the drift because it's just the blade is taller and I think it works better with my hands. The waypoint was a little too small for me. It was good. It was just it's kind of a little needly thing, you know. I mean, he says any Spyderco and H1 Steel. I would amend that to any Spyderco and LC200N because H1 is like having a knife made of butter. It won't corrode. You can just leave it in the ocean forever. It won't corrode. But my God, the edge retention of H1 is basically nothing. LC200N is going to have way better edge retention and still it won't corrode. So LC200, Spyderco is probably evolving all of their H1 knives to LC200N, or at least it seems like that. That's what I would do. A batch of 8020s? Probably, but I don't know where they're going to be. The Demcos are not going to tell me, and the retailers I work with are also not going to tell me. So I mean that, guys. I'm not like withholding information. I don't know. And I'm also kind of glad that I don't know because I don't want to be responsible for people not getting stuff. Like, you know what I mean? It's like if there's a whole bunch of people who have been waiting forever to get one, and then I make a huge announcement. I'm like, this is where they're going to drop. And then all of a sudden, 10,000 people who were never even aware of the 8020 are interested in, not that many people. Let's say 10,000 people watch, and an additional 200 people are suddenly interested in this knife that they never heard of. It just makes it that much more difficult for the people who have truly been waiting and seeking these things out to actually get their hands on them. So I'm kind of glad that I don't know, right? I'm going to make as many people aware as I can of the drops that I'm aware of. But for stuff like the 8020, I'm like, I'm kind of okay with not knowing. You know what I mean? Oh, there you go. He says it's not that hard. Join the Demi group on Facebook. So there you go. There's a Demco group on Facebook. I didn't even know about that. That probably would be really beneficial for a lot of people. We're at 58 minutes, guys. I will start paying much more attention to the chat. Oh my gosh, there's 175 people in here and only 91 likes. Guys, do you not care about how good I feel about myself at the end of a live stream? Come on now. Let's like that live stream. Let's like this live stream. Let's smash that like button. Let's tickle that like button. Let's sit on that like button. Let's headbutt that like button. Poke it. Poke the like button. You can ask me whatever you want right now, and I will do my best to answer it. James Jones says, I need you to leave YouTube. Maybe Instagram. No. Sorry. Sorry. Anyways. Let's see. Finger pop. Can we see that red Civivi? It's actually a Sencut. The Sencut Actium, which would have been really impressive at $30, but it's basically just another Civivi at D10 G2, identical build quality and an identical price tag to most Civivis at $45. So it's pretty cool. It's just like, why? You know? Demco's definitely been active lately on Instagram. I hold you responsible for me not getting a Hinderer. You get them all. No, I can't get them right now either. I've missed the last 6 drops. And I'm a part of the Hinderer collectors group. I just never am ready to go. Favorite sandwich. Oh my gosh. The best. So here's what I like to do. And if you've never done this, get ready. Because I'm going to blow your mind. Let me think about it. So what you need to do is go to your local grocery store, the section where they keep the chip dips, right? The sour cream and onion chip dip that goes really, really well with just a regular Lay's potato chip, preferably the ripples, right? Or the whatever. That, spread that on a piece of, it's like the wide pan bread, the real fluffy stuff. Not anything that's too thick, but real fluffy, right? You get like an oat base, some kind of oat nut bread or whatever, real fluffy stuff, wide pan. Whatever your choice of meat is, it really doesn't matter, right? You like turkey, you like salami, you like ham, right? Whatever it is. You like sliced chicken on your sandwich, doesn't matter. I like some crisp iceberg lettuce. It just gives it a little bit of extra crunch. Definitely. Your cheese, pepper jack. That's the best way to go. So for me, it's probably going to be turkey, pepper jack, lettuce, the chip dip, right? The sour cream and onion chip dip. And then it is very important that you also take your favorite types of potato chips, the exact potato chips that you would use with that chip dip, and put a layer of those on your sandwich. And then get ready, of course, smash it down, crush it down. That is the ultimate sandwich. It's not anything ultra complicated, but I'm telling you, not just the chips, not any of the other obvious elements like the meat, the cheese, the lettuce. It's the combination of specifically the chips and that sour cream and onion dip being spread on one of the pieces of bread that will make that the perfect sandwich. It is perfect. That's how you do it. If you have all that stuff in your fridge, what are you doing? Why are you watching this live stream? Go make that sandwich. Go change your life. It's worth it. A lot of people are like, dude, what you're acting like this is a revelation. We already do this. D10, G2, lettuce, and chick dip. You need to Oh my God, that was as close to a perfect comment as I could possibly ask for. Oh my gosh. After some TLC, it's better. Looks wise. It's a 10 of 10. Reminds me. Oh, he's talking about something else. Well, on that note, I'm gonna go make a sandwich. Thanks for the live stream, MC. Hey, we'll see you, Mark. MC is the best taste in blade profiles. 9 of 10 knives he likes. I also like. Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Buttering the bread is also a good idea. I do like to put butter on a sandwich periodically. It's not healthy for you. By the way, the ultimate sandwich that I just described is also not healthy, but God, is it good. Make 2. Hell, make 3. They're great. What's below the... oh, we didn't even take... Yeah, that's the James brand. What's below... Before we sign off here, I'll show the James brand. Here's my official statement on this, guys, because I kind of danced around it on the unboxing. Look, for those of you aware of this knife, right, we have a Riot built integral knife, all one piece of titanium, steel lock bar insert, all the dressings you'd expect, M390 blade. It's extremely functional, and it is very, very well made. This is a beautiful knife, and the people who have picked it up will not question the quality. They're going to be really happy with it. Is this a $600 knife? No, absolutely not. The knife that I'm handling right now is a $400 knife, period. The version with the micarta inlays that they want $650 for is a $450 knife. This is cool, and I like it. I would guess, without somebody telling me what the price tag is, I would say this is a $400 knife, and that's what I'd pay for it, easily. James brand selling their culture. Look, they're trying to grow as a company. I'm not going to bash the company, like, do what you're going to do, but geez Louise, you're crazy if you think this is a $600 knife. No, I'm normally not that aggressive when it comes to pricing. I'm normally more like, hey, if it's your cup of tea, then go for it. And still, if it's your cup of tea, then go for it, right? I mean, it is a well-made knife. But oh my God, do they know what part of the knife world they're selling to? Are they aware? I mean, like, here's the thing, they're still gonna sell it. But geez, like, seriously, that's not a $600 knife. No way. That's a $400 knife all day. No, absolutely not. It's crazy. It's still really cool though. I'll admit, the people who pick that up are really gonna like it. Like, if you can choke down that price tag, it's your money. Spend it how you want. I'm not gonna tell you. I'm not gonna be like, you're dumb, right? But for me, somebody who's pretty easy, pretty soft on pricing, right? I mean, case in point, the beginning of this video or the beginning of the live stream when I talked about the Sleesh Bowie, right? I'm pretty soft on that kind of stuff. But this, no way. Absolutely not. I love Riot. I don't know much about the James brand company, but I very much respect Riot. But it's the James brand company that's bringing that price to the table. That's just crazy. $450 is the absolute maximum that this should be priced at. If it was $450, I'd say it's a bit overpriced, but it's pretty cool. I might still be able to recommend it. But with them wanting $600 for it, no. I'm going to review it, but that's the conclusion that I'm going to come to. You'll get a full 20-minute video where I explain my thought process, but $600, oh my God, no. All right, guys. I think that's going to be pretty much it tonight. This was a fun live stream. Thanks so much for all of you guys hanging out. I definitely did not expect this many people to be in here on just a regular, just laid-back live stream, and I know I say that a lot, but yeah, seriously, thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's live stream. I hope it was fun, entertaining. Of course, we'll do this next week. There's a whole bunch of content coming tomorrow. A lot more content coming next week, and some new surprises, some really fun stuff that's coming in the next month or two that I'm really excited to share with you guys. So stay tuned. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. There is, as far as I'm aware, there is a bug in YouTube's system where it will unsubscribe you from a channel that you want to be paying attention to. So it would mean the world to me if tonight, right now, all 187 of you watching, go to my channel and make sure that you're actually subscribed. I've been watching this like a hawk ever since I became aware of this bug. Make sure you're actually subscribed, right? And if you're not subscribed, subscribe. If you are subscribed, make sure your notifications are turned on, because that gets kind of switched periodically too. I don't think YouTube's acting maliciously. It's apparently a known bug. A lot of creators have that issue. So check that stuff out. Anyways, I hope you all have an excellent rest of your Saturday evening and an excellent rest of your live stream. Have an excellent rest of your weekend. Bye.